Welcome to a new segment of the Walk-On Redshirts. A little bit different. You go for it.
You hear that?
I already opened mine. I'll be honest. I poured mine into a pint glass. I decided to be fancy.
Me too.
Oh, you love fancy pint
Oktoberfest.
glass. Oh, it's July 2nd.
1 month closer to Oktoberfest. It takes place in September, not to be confused with the month of October. And Jake, I don't know what you're drinking, but I have a nice little 13 Stripes, Not My King lager, and this is purposeful because the ACC is not Clemson's king. They're not going to make us play on a freaking Black Friday after Thanksgiving. They either put us on Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day like the game used to be, or we can play on freaking Saturday. They're not going to bully us. They are not my king. Shout out to 13 Stripes, my favorite brewery. Just happened.
I am drinking an Outer Belt Brewing. I think it's located in Ohio. Yeah, Carroll, Ohio. It's a golf cart. A blood orange golden ale. It's
nice.
One that somebody left in my fridge, so I'm drinking it.
Nice. Mine's a lager, and 13 Stripes is in Taylor's, South Carolina, in the old mill. So, cheers.
13 Stripes, Outer Belt. If you want to send us some beer to try, by all means, we're down for it. We'll drink whatever beer you send us.
Yep. My two favorite beers are free and a lot. You get me one of those. And then third is cold. We get one of those three. We're good to go.
Gotta be cold. But this segment, we wanted to switch this up. We want to do something different because we obviously have some preview episodes coming up. But beers, ball, and banter. It's just, we just want to get on here, chop it up. And
sometimes
we've got a little bit of
talk ball.
Yeah, I just want to sit out here, talk ball, have a beer. And, we have this one a little bit more scheduled. Got some interactions from the Twitterverse or the X-verse or whatever you want to call it now. and so we got everybody to submit some hot takes. I think we got 14 of them in here right now, and I think we still might have a couple that flow in through the episode. But the goal here is everybody submit a hot take. We're going to narrow it down to 2, 3, 4 ones that we deem to be the best, and we're going to put it out for Twitter. And the winner is going to get a Band Fall Weddings pint glass that was made by my wife.
Fun fact about the Band Fall Weddings: Jake put out a ad yesterday. We have 4 left.
Actually, we have 3. We have 3 now.
3 left. Shout out to Jamie Bear if you're listening. I appreciate you purchasing one. Former college roommate.
And hey, we're not looking to make money on these. We're just basically looking to cover costs. It covers time, shipping, the glasses, and time to make it. So hey, I'm not sitting here trying to make a ton of money off you guys. I just want to show off the brand. Make you guys have because soon we're gonna be drinking pint glasses out of them.
Yes, that's right. Mine comes in Friday, right, Jake?
He'll be at your house on Friday. So let's start with a couple of these. I want to save that first one that came in because that one seemed like it's a spicy one. I don't want to go off of that one immediately here.
Yeah, can't go straight to habanero. Let's use it in there.
So let's start. Drew Crabtree said the group of 5 participant will win a first round matchup. What do you think?
I can see that happening. You got to think. So they can only be in seeds 5 through 12, right?
I guess they could be 1 through 4, but realistically, we know they're not going to be.
And what are the real teams? You got Boise State, maybe. Appalachian State, maybe. Liberty, maybe. Who are some group of 5 teams? And they're going to be playing the best of the teams that don't get a bye. That's the biggest caveat. Because you would assume, unless they have a nuclear season and they're beyond the top 10, they're going to be from the outside looking in. They're going to be probably the 12th seed, maybe the 11th seed. So they're going to be playing a 5 or a 6. And you're going to be at that team stadium. We have to remember, people, this year we're going to have home playoff games, which makes me so excited. But we're going to have home playoff games. So you're a group of 5 team going into a hostile environment. So it's not a neutral site, a hostile environment. And that's hot. I mean, is it possible? Absolutely. I don't know.
Yeah,
that could be one of our 4, Jake. I mean, that's a really good take.
It's a hot take for sure. The question is, like, how likely is it to happen? Do we think that that's actually going to happen, or do we think that? I mean, it's spicy for sure. And I always feel like there's at least 1 or 2 group of 5 teams that come out of nowhere that, really jump up that and we're not expecting them. So I don't want to say that, like, for sure it's not going to happen, because it very well might. College football is unpredictable.
They're playing the second best Big Ten team. They're playing Notre Dame. They're playing the second best SEC. They're going to be playing all professional team. They're not getting bottom of the barrel. Like it's not like they're going up against a middle of the road Vanderbilt or Duke or whatever. They're playing against a team that almost won their conference, most likely. They're the 12th seed.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I'm rooting for it to happen. Honestly, I hope it is. I hope it is a American Athletic Conference. I hope it is a Sun Belt team that does it. There's a couple other ones talking about the group of 5 in here. So, I mean, out of 1 to 10, what would you give that on a spiciness? Like 10 is like, holy crap. Like that is like insane. 1 being like, did you even try? You just picked Alabama to win a national title.
I think this is a 9 spiciness paired with a Lloyd Christmas probability. Lloyd Christmas, for you who don't know, is Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance. So 9 spicy.
Drew, you get a 9. You get a 9.
Yeah.
All right. Lee_Chris12 says some team ranked 5 through 12 win the Natty this year.
So he's taking the field. Your best bet is 5, but they have the longest route. They have to win what, 3 games?
Here's the other thing. I don't think the best is 5. I think there's a chance that I guess I got to remember how they're going to seed them because the top 4 are going to be champions.
Correct.
So you, 5. Okay, maybe you're not. Maybe you're right. 5 or 6 because realistically, let's say Georgia wins the SEC again. Like your 6, your 7 is likely to be
Alabama.
And Ohio State and Alabama. If Oregon wins the Big Ten, in theory, if Oregon or Ohio State win the Big Ten, the other one's going to probably be at 5 or 6. An LSU, somebody
Utah,
else.
Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas. I don't think this is as spicy of a take because if Georgia loses the SEC championship game and is 12-1, they're going to be the 5. And then is it really that big of an upset if Georgia wins the national title at the 5 seed?
Yeah, but you have to think too, like everyone's argument, like the teams in the top 4 are most likely to win. But you got to think, like, guys, the guy who misses out most often, or the team that misses out most often, like people say they had a fighter's chance to win it all. So if we go on a spicy in this ranking, I'd give this a 6. We'll go a little bit above average.
I was going to say in a 6 to 7 range, so we'll call it a 6.5.
6.5.
We're doing decimals.
There we go.
All right, next one here. This one's got me.
It's got some legs to it.
This one's got some legs. The Saturday Journal said that Tennessee is a Final Four team, and Nico, I'm not even going to try to say his last name. I'm going to learn later in the year. Yeah, that one is a Heisman finalist. It's got some legs.
So sorry for smacking. I've got a new microphone and it picks up everything. So this is a new world for me. I think the spiciest part of that is crap, but it's both pretty spicy because the biggest question mark for me for Tennessee, the defense. They have the stud defensive end, James Pierce, I think his name is.
Yeah. Who's expected to be a top 5 pick in this year's NFL draft.
He's a freak, but he's one guy. You look back in the past, like guys who've got one guy on the defense line is really good. The first team that comes to mind is Auburn in 2011, I think it was, with Nick Fairley. The rest of that defense sucked. However, come back to it. The biggest question mark is Tennessee's defense. Do they have the defense to not only compete in the SEC, but then to compete against the best of the best? I think they have a chance. I would give this an 8 because you pair that with Iowa being a Heisman finalist. But I think in order for Tennessee to be in the Final Four, the latter part of that take has to happen. Nico has to have a Heisman finalist-esque season. So I think if you can't have one without 2, right? If Nico's not playing at a Heisman level, they're not making it to the Final Four. I think that's just
I think you're on the right page there. They're not going to make it unless Nico has a freak season. Like, I want to pull up Tennessee's schedule here real quick because
it's not that bad.
Like their schedule, there's going to be some tough games there. Second week of the year, NC State, that's going to be a tricky game there.
We'll find out what
NC
both
State
are made of.
didn't NC State get Grayson McCall? Is that where he's at now?
They did.
So that's interesting. At Oklahoma, that's a big game. Arkansas, I don't think it's going to be that good this year. Arkansas lost a lot. Florida, probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
But then you still have Alabama and you have Georgia on your schedule. So you have to beat at least 2 of Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can't sleep on Kentucky. You can't sleep on NC State.
Right. So I give this an 8. Because I think it can happen, but I think it's tough. I think I like that take.
No, I agree. I think that's a nice. I think that's a good take. I don't think that's unreasonable for us asking for a hot take. I think that they came in strong on that one.
Yeah, for sure. And because, honestly, guys, just to give a little caveat too, the Final Four that we put in, or whatever the number is we decide at the end, like it's got to be realistic too. Like, yes, it might be a 10 on the spicy scale, but if it's like there's almost 0% chance it can happen. Like some of these are really specific. And you'll hear them in a second. But anyway, go ahead.
Unfortunately, if they're too specific, that it's hard to actually think if it's realistic.
Yeah,
or it's going to kind of get voted.
Fan fiction. We're not going to dive into the fan fiction.
All right. Despite the turnover at Michigan, the Wolverines and Buckeyes play for a spot in the Big Ten championship when they play in Columbus, and that's from Jake Thigpen. So he's saying when the last week of the year, Ohio State and Michigan are going to play for a spot in the Big Ten title game.
Yeah, I think half of that is not a spicy take. I think Ohio State's my favorite to be in the national championship and probably to win it. I think I
would be shocked if Michigan makes the Big Ten championship game because their schedule is not easy. Now, the one nice thing that they do have is that they play Texas, and that's an out-of-conference game. So they can lose that, and it's not going to impact them.
Right.
But they still play USC, Washington, Oregon, Ohio State. Minnesota could be a sneaky team this year.
They're always tough.
Indiana seems to just always give Michigan some fits, and Kurt Signetti could be. I think they're going to beat Indiana. I think they're going to beat Minnesota, but the Big Ten now with this schedule, this is more of like one of those weekly SEC schedules that's like it's a week in and week out, and you've got some heavy hitters in there. Like there's not too many weeks off that they're going to get this year.
Right. I think Michigan's more likely to win, to not be bowl eligible than they are to make the Big Ten championship, and that
is a spicy take. That could be a top 4 take right there.
Maybe I'll tweet that out and get the people going of the maize and blue. But so because of that, I give this a 7. I think Ohio State making it is a lock, but I think Michigan being good is 7 on its own. Like I don't have any confidence in Michigan. So Jake, I hope you clip this and put this out there because I know you've got some Michigan fans that follow you.
This is going to end up on the internet tomorrow, and I can't wait. This is going to end up on the internet, and I can't wait because you saying that Michigan's more likely to end up, missing a bowl than making the Big Ten championship. That's spicy.
I'm a fan on business, Jake. I'm gonna tweet it. We're boys drinking beer right now, having a little chat about ball. I'm gonna go ahead and put this tweet out there.
I'm gonna retweet it. Can't wait. All right. AU Apocalypse, Auburn fan. Napier is fired before the holidays at Florida, and Lane Kiffin is your next Gator head coach. Okay, well, anybody that gets fired is going to be fired before the holidays. Let's just put it that way. With the signing day got moved up a little bit even earlier. They're not going to fire him after the first of the year. They're going to fire him before Thanksgiving. So that part's not spicy to me if you're going to fire somebody. I do think Billy Napier gets fired this year, though, because they play they have such a tough schedule.
And I do feel for him because exactly that. Like the cards are just stacked outside of his favor. It's going to be rough for him. But yes, I think his days are numbered in Florida.
I think the whole reason they kept him. I think the whole reason they kept him was to get DJ Lagway on campus, even though the transfer portal and NIL changed everything.
Yeah,
he can leave whenever he wants, and B, because they didn't want to bring a new coach in and say, "Here you go, you have the toughest schedule in America." because you're going to lose guys because they're going to look at that. Not that it's going to be a deal breaker, but you're going to have some coaches look at it and be like, do I really want to go to Florida when I'm guaranteed to lose 8 games next year?
Right. And who's going to be the head coach? How long is it going to take him to rebuild?
I think saying Lane Kiffin goes to Florida is a spicy take, though, because I don't think Florida's a better job than Ole Miss right now.
I think 10 years ago it was. I don't think it is nowadays. I really don't. I think Ole Miss and Florida are equivalent right now, and that might be a hot take too. But I think the Ole Miss job is more lucrative. I mean,
I think in the day and age of the transfer portal and the NIL, Florida is a middle of the SEC job.
Well, and you got to think about this too, Jake. Like, Florida's not winning Florida in recruiting. They're not. Like, it's not.
No, it's impossible to win the state of Florida anymore.
Right. Gone are the days where Miami, Florida State, and Florida are getting all the guys from Florida. That's not realistic anymore. So I think that was the heydays of those three teams. Those three teams is when they were dominating the state of Florida in recruiting. That just doesn't happen anymore. So we can look at the stats to back that up. But I know Clemson dips their toes into Miami and the Jacksonville area all the time. So Georgia, obviously, USC, Texas, all these people are pulling these top talented guys out of Florida. I would be shocked if we went and looked at 24/7 Sports, the top players out of Florida, and see if majority of them went outside of state. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
If I was to name the top 5 jobs, I'll take it. If I was to name the top 6 jobs in the SEC right now, including the 2 newcomers, I think Alabama, Georgia, and Texas are your top 3, and that's not close. Those are the top 3 jobs in the SEC, and I don't think it's very close.
I think Oklahoma is a close 4. I think
my tier 2 is LSU and Oklahoma.
Yep.
So I think that's 5, and then I think you could justify Tennessee's a tough job. I think you could justify it. I think A&M might be a better job than Florida right now.
Yeah, I think
A&M's got the backing of every booster in the state of Texas.
Right. I think Missouri's a good job. You have a lot of job security. Kentucky's got a really good job. You got a lot of job security.
I mean, Mark Stoops wanted to leave, and A&M said, "No, we're good."
And they still welcomed him back.
And Kentucky's like, "Come home, just come on home."
I think this takes a 5. I think the spiciest part of it is Lane Kiffin being the next coach.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. L Graham LJG3, heck of a username, says USC will go 7-5 and Lincoln Riley is gone.
I think this is very likely. I mean, so I think Lincoln Riley was a year too late on firing Alex Grinch. I know we gave him a lot of crap.
It was like 6 years too late firing Alex Grinch. That dude was following him around.
I agree.
He has some sort of blackmail on him because, my goodness.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a lot. But I think, like, in terms of like going to USC and saying, "All right, I'm giving you one more shot. We're in the hotbed of recruiting. Come on, Alex, show me what you can do." I think he waited a year too long. He should have given him 1 year in USC. And I think because of that, yes, he might have one of the best defensive staffs in the country right now at USC. You have to take those guys and instill that culture, and that's not going to be there in a year. And Caleb Williams is gone. Who's playing quarterback? Yeah. I could not tell you who the USC
Miller Moss, I believe, is expected to be the starting quarterback this year. Right. He took over in the bowl game. He did fine. Yeah. But a whole year is a lot different than.
You can't be fine at quarterback in the Big Ten. So you're changing conferences. You're playing a harder schedule.
No, you can be fine at quarterback in the Big Ten. Iowa's proven it year after year that you don't need to be good to make a bowl game.
If you can run the football and play defense, USC cannot run the football or play defense. Reggie Bush is not coming through the tunnel.
I was going to say, Iowa has proven it time and time again that you do not need to be good at throwing the football.
Yeah, I give this a 4.
Their schedule, they start off with LSU. Now it's in Vegas. It's stupid. Utah State, who does not have a coach at this point, actually. So they should win that one. At Michigan, Wisconsin, and USC. Now that is a game I'm excited for. It's going to fly under the radar.
That is like the most polar opposite programs. I can't wait to see them play.
They go to Minnesota, play Penn State.
What year? What time of year are they going to Minnesota?
They go to Minnesota. It's like week 5, week 6. So it'll be like nice. It's just not going to be. It's like the second week of October. They'll be fine.
Wait till they're in Piscataway in freaking November.
No, they don't have that. They have their last 4 games, so their November games are basically at Washington, which they did plenty of times, home versus Nebraska, at UCLA, and home versus Notre Dame. So the last 3 games are in California or in LA.
On the West Coast, yeah.
The last 4 games are on the West Coast. They play Rutgers week before Washington at home. Like middle of October, they're going to Maryland, which is not even going to be that cold.
Well, and it's Maryland. Like,
yeah, they should still win. So if they lose 5 games, which I think if you're going to pull 5 games out of here, it's LSU, it's Michigan, it's Penn State, Notre Dame, and then honestly, I could see them losing to Nebraska. I could see them lose to Wisconsin. I could see them lose to Minnesota. I could see them lose to Washington. Like, I think they're probably an 8-4 team at best.
Right. So, and I don't think Lincoln Riley being fired is that unlikely. They're paying him gobs of money. Like, you just joined the Big Ten, you're going to be getting a lot of money back on that conference deal. I think if they're going to, I think this is a proven year for Lincoln Riley. So I give it a 4.
And I think there's going to be boosters and admins out there that are going to say, "We're in the Big Ten now. Like, you need to prove this. Like, you need to be proving it to us what you are." So I don't think this is that spicy of a take because I have an 8-4, so 7-5 is not that different.
Right.
I think the spicy part is Lincoln Riley gone because I could see them holding on to him for 1 more year. So what I would give this like a 5 or a 6.
I said 4, so yeah, we'll say 5.
Yeah, we'll go 5. All right, Fast Chad. After losing 7 games, an SEC coach will be fired after
Fast Chad won.
After losing 7 games, an SEC coach will get fired after a booster hacks their phone and releases their browsing history.
What do you have on Hugh Freeze? Specific. What do you have on Hugh Freeze? Are you an Alabama fan? I feel like Hugh Freeze is the only one who's got questionable phone history right now.
So there's gonna be some annoyed LSU fan when they go 9-3 that's gonna want Brian Kelly gone.
Yeah,
find a way to get rid of this dude.
It turns out Brian Kelly does not have a Southern accent. We found it in his phone history. I don't know. Like,
unrealistic.
I think it's unrealistic. Like,
we're gonna put not applicable here because
hold on, it could happen. Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, it could.
Let's give it a 1. Let's give it a 1 because it could happen. Like, so again, guys, spiciness is probability and hot take put together. For pristine spicy, we need it to be a hot take and have a good probability. Does that make sense? Like, Anyway, go ahead.
It makes perfect sense. Oh, great, William.
Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. G Turney 18. Nebraska wins 10 games and makes the playoffs. Now, Nebraska's schedule is not that hard, especially the first half. I was looking at something today because I think
you're ready for this.
Put it out. Well, On3 put something out that Nebraska should be 7-0 when they play Ohio State, and it got me thinking. I was like, well, how easy is the schedule that they should be 7-0 because Nebraska hasn't won 7 games in like 6 years. Why are we all of a sudden thinking they're going to be 7-0? So they play UTEP at home, Colorado at home, Northern Iowa at home, Illinois at home, at Purdue, home against Rutgers, at Indiana. That's their first 7 games.
I don't think that. I think the 10 wins is very likely with that schedule.
And then they play at Ohio State. They'll be amped up. I'll be at that game. They'll probably be hyped up for no reason, just for Ohio State to win 49-16.
Don't do this to yourself, Jake.
Hey, I've seen this before. A couple years ago, one loss, Michigan State came in, top 10 matchup, and CJ Stroud threw 7 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen this happen with Nebraska. They came in with 1 loss, and then we dropped 63 on them in late October. I've seen this happen before. I've watched this script.
Matt Rule is going to rally the troops. That turtleneck is going to be looking.
Hey, I love Matt Rule. That's my Temple hour.
I did until he came to the Panthers, but I think this could happen. I think they
finish with UCLA at USC, Wisconsin at Iowa. Like, the only glaring game this is Ohio State. That's almost certainly likely going to be a loss. I'll give them a 20% chance, probably less than that, 15% chance of winning that game. Iowa, Wisconsin, USC, those are 3 tough games to finish the year. So you're saying they need to go 2-1 in that stretch.
I think this is a lot more likely. I give this an 8.
I think this is a really good take. The question I have is 10 wins going to be enough if they don't have too many signature wins?
That, and I think the biggest question mark for Nebraska, like Tennessee, what's the quarterback going to do? What's Rayola going to do? I don't care how easy your schedule is. If you have a stale offense, it's going to be tough. So,
and a true freshman quarterback is going to make mistakes this year.
Right.
Now, UTEP to start the year is not bad. Colorado, we're not really sure what we're going to get. We're not really sure what we're going to get out of Colorado because you're going to have playmakers there. But the Colorado still doesn't play defense or use their offensive line. So you don't really know what you're going to get. So if they can get past Colorado, I think this is a great take. I love the idea of an 8.
I said 8, yeah.
Kansas makes the 12-team playoff from Chancey John.
I love this because I think Kansas wins the Big 12. I know everyone wants Utah to win the Big 12. I think Utah's the favorite. I think Kansas has a really good shot of winning the Big 12. I really do. If Jalen Daniels can stay healthy the entire year,
that's the biggest question mark.
And that makes it spicy because Jalen Daniels is tough. But I think Leopold has that.
He's a
winner.
They're
firing all cylinders. He's a winner. He's done a great job. You can't just laugh at Kansas on your schedule now. That is not the automatic W. That's not the bye week. That's not your scrimmage. That's not your JV game. You got to bring your best to beat Kansas now. And I think it's going to be tough for them to get in. You got to get through Oklahoma State. You got to get through Utah. And you got to. So
they don't have either of them on the schedule. They don't have either of those on the schedule.
But to win the conference,
yeah. Almost certainly you'll play one of them in the conference. A tricky game, fourth game of the year. Baylor sucks. Baylor's terrible.
You never know.
West Virginia is my team to watch for in that conference.
Greg Green, shout out Greg Green. Shout out my fantasy football team.
I think West Virginia, they play them the 4th week of the year. I think that's going to be a difficult game. TCU is probably going to at least be a formidable opponent. Arizona State and Houston are probably both going to suck. Kansas State is a rivalry game. It's at Kansas State. It's in Manhattan. I think that's a difficult game.
Arizona's tough.
But I think they could potentially go 10-2 and make the conference championship. I don't think they need to expect to go 12-0.
Well, and he didn't say that. He just said that they made 12-team playoff.
Just make 12-team playoff. I think going 10-2 puts them in the conference championship, so they can lose, a game at BYU. They could lose a game at West Virginia. Like, I think the Big 12 is a very toss-up of a conference. There's going to be a lot of beating up. Nobody's going to go undefeated out of the Big 12 this year.
It's America's conference, but I do think with the Big 12,
I
think
you have to. It's all coast.
That's true. I think to make the playoff out of the Big 12, you have to win the conference. And I'm not sure you're going to get an at-large bid unless you've got like 2 11-1 teams that make the championship game. I'll give this an 8, maybe a 9, 8 or 9.
Yeah, go 8.5. I think Kansas's schedule, they could win every game and they could go 6-6 at the same time.
That's true. If Jalen Daniels gets hurt, it's over.
All right, Justin Kripe, our own Justin Kripe, said Malik Murphy will lead Duke to, he said, let's say 8 wins and make himself into a first-round draft prospect.
I think the hottest part of that is the second part. I think that's the spiciest part. I love Malik Murphy. I think he's a very, very, very talented quarterback. I think he's got a great arm. We just haven't seen what he can do. We haven't seen a body of work yet. We saw him against BYU last year.
We saw him play last year, and it all made sense that he was going to transfer because Quinn Ewers has come back, and it's very obvious that Arch Manning is the future thereafter. Yeah. So it made sense for him to transfer. Duke is a very interesting landing spot. You got Manny Diaz there. The schedule is not that difficult. There's definitely a couple tough games in here, but they should realistically be 4-0. They start off with Elon, Northwestern, UConn, and Middle Tennessee.
If they're not 4-0, then he's not going to be a first-round draft pick, and they're not going to win 8 games.
North Carolina's lost Drake May. They've lost a lot. Georgia Tech is kind of on the up, but that's a game they could win. Florida State, SMU are going to be 2 very difficult games. I don't see them winning either of those games. Although I don't really trust DJU.
I know I could see them beating Florida State. I really could. I know.
It's at home. It's actually a Friday night at home, so that makes it interesting. That's spooky territory.
Please don't talk to me about playing on a non-Saturday against Duke at Duke. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready to talk about it.
Still too soon.
Yeah.
And then, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Miami, and NC State are the other 4. Like, I think there's 8 wins in here. I'm not including bowl wins in here, by the way. We're not. You don't get to predict how many wins and say that. By the way, in the bowl game.
Yeah. Well, hold on now. Clemson was a 9-win team last year because of the bowl game. So
yeah, okay.
I like
it's only important if you win your bowl game.
I think the hottest part of that is first-round draft prospect. But every year we have a quarterback come out of nowhere to be a first-round guy. We had Joe Burrow,
JJ McCarthy,
and Jalen and oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? He went to the Redskins.
Jaden Daniels.
Literally just saying his name. He's the same exact name.
Hey, I predicted who was going to win the Heisman before last year, and I nailed that.
You did. But we have that guy come out of nowhere the past few years. Like,
oh yeah.
And I say out of nowhere loosely, but I think that's a possibility. I like this take a lot. I give it an 8.
I would give it an 8. I like the idea of it. I think that them winning 8 games, I'm going to go 7.5 actually, because I think winning 8 games is pretty realistic. I think that is well within territory. I think the first round draft pick part is the
had he part. Said, Justin, had you gone a little bit further on that ledge and said 10 wins, then you'd be in the 9.
You said 9. If you said 9, I would have been okay. Okay, you threw a little extra cayenne pepper on it, but no. You backed off and you just went chili powder.
Yeah, you didn't get your gumption until late in that tweet, so you gotta go all the way.
CRAASCH, Crash with 2 A's, says North Dakota State beats Colorado in the season opener.
I don't
know anything about North Dakota State. I don't know anything other than the fact that they used to be pretty good when they had all those guys.
I know enough about them that that's very likely. I don't know. I give it you gotta remember, guys, Colorado last year went toe-to-toe with Colorado State and went to how many overtimes to beat them? Was it 2?
Yeah, it was 2 overtimes, and they needed this. That was the Pac-12 after dark. So I'm trying to remember because that game started at 10:30 at night.
Yeah,
I remember laying on my couch and passing out at one point because I wasn't built for it at that point. I did not have the stamina ready. My stamina was not ready in week 3.
I was at a bachelor party and I passed out watching on my phone because I was tired. Because I was drunk.
It was not. So I'm trying to remember if Shedeur Sanders. I thought they had to take a drive down the field to tie the game towards the end.
Yes, they did. So, long story short, Colorado, it's not beyond reason of a doubt that they'll be competing late in the game with North Dakota State. So, I give this a 7 because North Dakota State, regardless of how good they are FCS. But we've seen FCS schools upset FBS schools all the time. So
there's always a couple. Usually it's like Northwestern that gets beat, but there's always other ones.
Yeah, and I love this take. And I've also been telling people to make this bet and to bet the line on that game because if
Colorado giving this like a 10, you giving this like a 10?
No, I don't think it's that spicy. I think a lot of people are.
You just love the take. You love the idea.
I just love the take because I want it to happen so bad.
This is actually a kind of a popular pick right now.
Yeah, because I say 7, 8. Sorry,
I'm gonna go 7 because I can see it happening, but I'm not actually sold that it's that spicy of a take.
It's not that hot. Too many people are saying it. You're not hipster enough. Like too many people are into it for it to be cool.
All right, Brenton Bender says Shedeur Sanders wins the Heisman, and Jake accepts a best man invitation to a fall wedding. Book it. Well, joke's on you. I don't have any weddings this fall, although I do have one next fall, and I don't think I'm going to be a best man.
I have one next fall too, and it's one of my really good friends. I don't think I'll be the best man either, but I'm pretty sure I'll be invited.
Here's my. This is an off-topic spicy take. Being in weddings after your first like 2 or 3 suck.
It costs a lot of money.
I
wouldn't say
invite me to the
It's nice
bachelor
be
party.
there.
I'll go to the bachelor party. Just let me go to the wedding of my wife. I don't want to go and do the whole day long thing and take all your pictures. Just let me go sit there, hear you do your vows for 20 minutes, and then head to the party. I don't need to buy the suit. I already own a suit. I don't need to rent your tux, hang out with you 3 hours. Trust me, I'll be fine. Let me go party. After in my 30s, I don't want to be in your wedding. If you ask me, I'm gonna say yes, but I don't want to be in your wedding anymore. Just invite me.
Brenton, you got this dude fired up. You got Jake. This is cranky Jake. This is Pac-12 after dark Jake right now.
Yeah.
Past his bedtime.
I don't want to be in your wedding. I'm going to say yes because I feel like I should, but that doesn't want to. Hey, my own wedding photo is right there. I love weddings. My own is right there with all my groomsmen, so I enjoyed it. But you know what? I don't want to be in your wedding.
I'll be in your wedding. I'll sub in for Jake. I'll be that hero.
This man's already married.
So
all right,
I think
Sanders wins the Heisman. I'm not sold.
No,
I think it's spicy, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, he has a chance solely because of the amount of publicity he's going to get. But because of that publicity, if he does anything bad, that's all people are going to talk about. He is the Caitlin Clark of college football. If you want to make it equivalent to a predominant sport of the WNBA. So I think this is a spicy take. I don't see it happening. I don't know.
The problem is Colorado has to win 9 games for him to even get consideration.
I don't think so, though. I just think he has to play mistake-free ball. I think he gets enough publicity that people like, because you got to remember who we're talking about. Our Heisman voters suck. So people are going to vote
that is true.
What they see. So that's why I don't think it's that far-fetched for him to be there. But if he has any bad games, then I think he's done, because just the good news will come. The bad news will be just as prominent as well.
If he was a running back, I would agree with you there. But the problem is he's a quarterback, so they put the team success on him. So if they go 6-6, they're not.
Well, yeah,
they're going to lose too many voters on that.
If he's 6-6, he's also not having a good year. The person I got back to is Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson, the year he won the Heisman, I think they went 9-3. I mean, which is a good year, but it's not a Heisman Trophy year, you know. Like, so, I think if you build up enough publicity, you can lose some games. But you still have to be performing. If they go 6-6, I don't think he's performing anyway.
No, I would agree with you there. I agree with you there.
I give it a 6. I don't think it's very likely, but I do think I don't think it's that spicy either. I don't know. I think enough of America loves Shedeur Sanders.
There's either that, and there's enough of America that loves to hate Shedeur Sanders.
Right. He's going to be talked about.
All right, last one we got here. This one might be. There's a chance this one's the spiciest. Then we have 2 more. Actually, 2 more. These might be the 2 spiciest takes out of everything. Toledo/Miami, Ohio will be the only team from Ohio to win a playoff game this season.
I think the biggest take that the caveat on that is win. I think Toledo has a really good chance to make it, or Miami, Ohio has a really good chance to make it. But to win one, man. Like, because you got to think too, like, so Ohio State will be
Toledo lost Daquan Finn to Baylor.
Oh, I forgot about that. See, and you're talking trash about Baylor. I think
Baylor still sucks. Dave Aranda had it for like 1 year, and now they're just not that good.
Let's go, baby. Chip and Joanna games they're going to rebuild them. They're going to make them good. They're perfect at remodeling things, and you're hating on them now. That's what they do.
A MAC team to win a playoff game would be absurd.
It'd be epic. But you got
that would be absurd.
Who are they beating? It goes back to that very first.
Likely a Georgia, Ohio State, or Oregon.
Right. So they're playing against the top tier team. I think this is a really spicy take.
This might be the spiciest one on this list so far because.
Well, let's see here. What did we give the group of 5 participant will win round 1? If we gave that a 9.
This is like taking that to another level because you're calling your shot.
Yeah, you're calling out the team that's going to do it, and you're saying Ohio State is not going to win a game.
I'm giving it a 9.5. It would be a 10, but you pick 2 teams.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah, call them out. Yeah, stand on business.
You didn't pick 1. You picked 2. You gave yourself a fallback option there. So you get a 9.5 on it. But that was from College Football Home. Make sure you follow them. They do great college football content.
Yes,
They always support. They always support the podcast and the channel. So make sure you go and follow them and give them a like as well, because they're about to be on the poll.
That's true. And Jake, don't forget, we got one more. The very first one.
One more. Okay. From 5127 GATA, Georgia Tech will be in the playoff discussion as we enter the clean, old-fashioned hate. That means they're 9-2, basically, because for all intents and purposes, you can't have 3 losses and expect to make the playoff.
Well, they're competing to win the ACC. Let's look at their schedule. I think this is where it all, because I like Haynes King. That's their quarterback's name, correct?
Yes.
I like him.
They opened the season in Dublin, Ireland against Florida State. I hate that.
I think we'll find out who they are that game, because I don't like Florida State's team because of DJU, but DJU wins these games.
Florida State also lost a ton. They lost Trey Benson. They lost Johnny Wilson. They lost all of that offensive skill pirate. Yeah, Keon Coleman, their tight end, who's Jaheim Bell. They lost so many guys off that offense and defense. Jared Verse is gone. They lost so many guys off that offense and defensive side of the ball. I mean, you saw what happened when they played Georgia when the whole team opted out. So,
by the way, the softest thing in the world that I've seen is these Florida State players coming back saying, "If we would have played, we would have whooped that ass." Dude, shut up! You didn't play. You opted out. That was a choice. Y'all had the choice.
You could have played. You could have played. You chose not to.
Jordan,
I'm not going to hold it against anybody for not playing in a bowl game. I understand why you don't, but you can't say, "Well, if we had played, we had done it." Well, no, well then play. Like, don't leave it up to chance of your backups and your third strings if you want to figure out what's going to happen.
You know, Jake, let me say this: if I would have said Clemson one more year, I'd have been a Heisman candidate. Can't prove me wrong.
That might be the spiciest take out of everything. Might be the spiciest take.
But the Georgia Tech schedule, they got Florida State, Georgia State, Syracuse, VMI, Louisville, Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, who I think is going to be really good, Miami, NC State, and Georgia. I think
9-2 is not impossible. But I mean, there's definitely some Notre Dame. I don't think there's a chance they can beat Notre Dame. I think there is. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be way too good. That secondary is going to be nasty this year. I think Riley Leonard will be fine. I don't think Riley Leonard's going to be that. I think he's going to be Sam Hartman, like Sam Hartman level of success.
But his level of success comes from his running game rather than the passing game. I think
Sam Hartman was a really good accuracy on short passes. There's a reason why he didn't get drafted at all. Right. He's great with the short passes. Riley Leonard, though, the problem with him also has been health. How much he moves around. Notre Dame is replacing both tackles.
Well, and you have Jaden Greathouse and you have Bo Collins, which I hate to tell you, I wanted to love Bo Collins so badly at Clemson, but he is so inconsistent. Jaden Greathouse, I think, is going to be a really good receiver. Audric Estime is gone. Who's going to play? Who's running back?
They used like 6 of them last year, so I'm sure they got one. Their tight end is escaping my name, but he got injured.
Michael Myers?
No,
Mitchell Myers.
Is it?
Mitchell Evans.
That's what it is. I was like, Michael Myers went to the Raiders. Mitchell Evans, who was pretty good. He got injured halfway through the year, so he'll have a reliable tight end there.
The defense is going to be ungodly.
Notre Dame is going to have a top 10 defense this year, without question, and they're going to have a top 5 secondary.
I think the thing is with Georgia Tech, they have a lot of swing games on their schedule. NC State's a swing game. Miami's a swing game. Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Duke, and Louisville, they have 6 swing games. So all 6 of those games can go either way.
And you really need 4 to go your way, because if you want to say that you're in consideration for the playoff, you really need to be 9-2 when you enter that game against Georgia.
Right. And so I think that's a 9. Because it could happen.
A spicy take.
I think Brent Key has done a really good job of building that roster. They had a lot of guys come back. The fact that Haynes King comes back is one of the biggest things, because he could have been a very, very sought-after quarterback in the transfer portal. He had a pretty good year at Georgia Tech last year, given who he's throwing to. So they keep most of the talent around him. I don't know what they've supplanted with. I haven't done my deep dive into their roster, but I don't know. I mean, I think it could happen. I really, they could be this year's Louisville. Last year, Louisville was the team that man, they just showed up at the end of it. You called it, by the way. You called it.
I just thought their schedule was easy enough, and sure enough, it was. And Georgia Tech, I mean, that first game, like you said, is going to tell a lot.
We're going to find out. So we'll find out what this take is after the first game, which is a soft thing to say.
They play, they come back and they play Georgia State. They play Syracuse, VMI, Louisville, and then they get a bye week. They get their games in October between Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech, which is going to be a pretty tough stretch. Now, they do get Notre Dame and Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I don't know why they're playing in the city of Atlanta, but playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium when Georgia Tech plays in Atlanta. It's not that far away. Just play on campus, people. Yeah, that is so annoying. That is so pointless to play that game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Why?
Cranky Jake. Why? We got Cranky Jake here.
It's just dumb. Just dumb. Just play the
game. Walk-On Redshirts after dark.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Play the games on campus. Okay. We have 3 that we rated at least a 9. And there's one at 8.5. The question is the 8.5 one make the poll, or does it? So here are our contenders. So when everybody listens, here's your contenders who you're voting for. Georgia Tech will be in the playoff discussion as we enter the clean old fashioned hate. That's for 5127 GATA. The group of 5 participant in the college football playoff will win round 1 from Drew Crabtree. Kansas will make the 12-team playoff from Chancey John. And Toledo or Miami will be the only team from Ohio to win a playoff game this season from CFB home.
How many slots do you have on your poll, Jake? On a vote poll? 4 is the top. You can't have one 4.
Why were you going to add with your own?
No, I like the 2 8s. I like the Tennessee as the Final Four with Nico, and then I like the Nebraska with 10 games and makes the playoff.
Maybe I'll see if there's a way we could bracket it.
So, all right, let's do this. Is there 8.5? We got the 8.5 on there.
8.5 is the Kansas.
All right. No disrespect to Drew Crabtree, but he the group of 5. So he's calling out any school from the group of 5. College Football Home went specific and called out the actual schools that he thinks can make it.
Are you dropping Drew's?
No, let's not do it. I don't want to.
I mean, he had early bias. He got the first one, and he had the initial.
That's true. Because I really love that. I really would like to see that Tennessee one on there. But yeah, you know what, Jake? I think we put the Tennessee one on there. Tennessee's the Final Four team, and Nico's is a Heisman finalist. Or do you like the Nebraska winning 10 games better?
No, because I think that one, when you look at the schedule, it looks a lot more realistic than just when you hear it.
Okay. Sorry, Drew Crabtree, but yours is too close to CFP Homes, and CFP Home called out 2 teams, and you called out all of them. So,
but Drew, you can get a pint glass if you just go to the Etsy store and you buy one. That'll ship.
That's right. That's right. You're still eligible.
You're still eligible for your own. You just have to go and buy it.
You're an eligible bachelor, but you're not eligible to have Jake attend your wedding. No,
I am not coming down to your fall weddings. I'm only going if my wife tells me I have to go.
Shout out to Beans of Victoria. By the way, I put this the tweet out yesterday, or the Instagram post yesterday, of the pint glasses. They're getting married next fall. Got some hate from them. I told them they're the exception to the rule because they're really good friends of mine. So, yes, you should never have a fall wedding, but it's okay that y'all did it, I guess. You do it on a Sunday, so you get away with it. It's on a Sunday, so I don't have to miss Saturday football.
I have a wedding this fall on Labor Day weekend, but the wedding is on Sunday.
Yeah, so that's cool. So you're okay. You did it.
So I can watch all the football on Saturday. I'll be hanging out with my cousins. I'll probably be at a bar somewhere watching the games all day, and then we'll go to the wedding on Sunday. Although I do have to miss, I think I have to miss a really good game on Sunday. I forget which one it is. It might be that LSU USC game, or it might be a different one. I forget. Anyways.
Cheers, Jake.
Cheers.
Knock it down. That was a great first session of beer, ball, and banter. So, guys, be expecting this. This is going to be more of an informal segment that we do. It's just going to be dudes talking ball. We're not going to get into the stats. Maybe we do it, but it's off. But this is going to be more off the dome. This is just the guys chopping it up, right, Jake?
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll bring some guests on sometimes, chop it up. We'll be everywhere. We'll be talking about whatever we feel like that week.
Yeah.
Unscheduled might be every week, might be every 2 weeks, might be on just random days we decide to do it. But we will be back next week. We are going to be doing conference previews starting next week. We got the ACC starting next week. We got a bunch of previews lined up, some guests lined up. We got some cool things coming. So get ready for the season with us.
Got an interview coming out very soon. Very soon. We may have just actually shot it like right before this.
Yes. Big day for us. Big day. But yeah, make sure to follow all the content. Go to the walkonredshirts.com. There'll be a lot more content coming out as we get ready for the season. Betting information, group of 5, recruiting, news, lists, all that kind of jazz. And make sure to subscribe, rate the podcast, share it with your friends, and make sure that you guys vote for who had the hottest take. That way somebody can go and win a pint glass. We have a couple more left. Make sure to go and support. Like we said, we're not trying to make money. We just want to share the brand.
Yeah, you can put on an I voted sticker if you vote on our poll.
Yeah, exactly. That's important. Those are great stickers. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys soon.